Hey, this is Colin Nathan Aleem, the real estate boy. And this week on Real Estate with Soul, we have the owner of Core Inspections Group, Corwin Jackson. This is a man that I've done business with for a while. This
Awesome,
Real
awesome.
Estate Soul, we look to spotlight different professionals, black professionals in real estate. And again, we got one of the best in the business, man. Welcome to the show, Core.
Hey man, I'm glad to be here, man. You guys must really be scraping the bottom of the barrel for me to get an invite, man. You guys must really be like, man. So the four people cancel on you or what? How did I make it?
Not at all, man. Not at all. I looked up. I looked to bring people on here because I know this is a platform that some others may take referrals from, or some people may say,
Yeah,
"Hey, okay, well, Khalid has him on there, so he must be good," and look to reach out to. So
awesome,
definitely
awesome.
wanted to have you on it. If somebody does come on here, man, I definitely feel confident that y'all do a good job, man. And since the
Absolutely.
first time I got into business in 2017, and I mean, your customer service, and I mean, I see you leveling up in your business. It's kind of like every time I contact you guys is something new. You're super heavy on
That
customer
is not by
service, man.
mistake. That is not by mistake. And I tell you what, see, I think one of the things that we don't encourage enough as business owners, we could take the home inspection piece out of it. It's just a constant level of feedback from our clients and from our referral partners. And the feedback that we got from our referral partners were, hey, home inspections, the industry as a whole, we're not getting the level of communication that we sometimes need. And I
Hmm.
can tell you what, we are settling into a new office just for that. You probably don't remember, but you and I had a call it probably was 2 years ago when I said, and hey man, I'm just gonna be completely honest on this show. I said, hey Kelly, what's happening, man? I just realized we haven't heard from you in a while. We want to make sure you're getting, the attention that you need, and the conversation really focused around customer service and feedback
Hmm.
and making sure you're getting a quick response. This was probably 2 years ago,
Okay.
and that was the third time I had that type of feedback. So what I did quickly is, I pulled away from what was a call center, where most of our calls, if you were scheduling an inspection, most people didn't know they wasn't calling my brick and mortar. It was going outbound to a call center. These folks were located in Kansas City. So in this
Right.
office that we're settling into now, about 1,300 square feet, we have people in the office. They take the calls. You're going to talk to the same three people every time you call. One of the same three people. And what I realized with that is, one, we can really build that relationship. I know when you called the other day, you said, "Hey, well, I want to speak to Peter directly."
Right.
The really good thing about that is, I know that you now have a level of trust with the folks that are in the office. The conversation isn't, "Hey, well, I got to speak to Corwin. I got to get him on the phone." You know that now. Hey, you can get the same person every time you call in. So I'm sure if you didn't get him immediately, you got to call back within 20 minutes. So that customer service piece, we don't take it for granted. I knew for some time that was an area that we kind of had to improve in. So the goal is to just knock that out the park.
Right. And you guys have been doing a phenomenal job, man. Before we jump into that, man, we definitely want to learn about the owner and
Yep.
about your journey to getting to this point, man. What did you do before becoming a home inspector?
Here's what's interesting. What a lot of people don't know. I was actually a real estate investor coming out of the military, and I also worked in essentially third party logistics. Early
Okay.
on, I knew that my passion was in real estate. I knew that. I purchased my first home at 26. I then purchased two duplexes immediately afterwards. So then the thought was, I think my journey was very similar to other real estate professionals, where, hey, guess what? Real estate is my passion. I understand that I can really get myself to a new level in real estate, but I'm working this 9 to 5. So how
Hmm.
do I get from the 9 to 5 to steady income to now jumping into my passion? At some point, we got to grow those wings, right? At
Right.
some point, we got to grow those wings and take the leap. So Of course, I'm having a conversation about everyone within 5 yards. Hey, man, I'm looking at being in real estate full time, but I got a really strong salary. And here was a conversation, Khaled. Here was a conversation. Hey, man, just be a realtor. It's so easy.
Right.
You can make so much money being a realtor. It's so easy, dude. Just go for it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not sure if that fits my personality. I'm not sure, and I tell you what, I recognize immediately because I'll tell you, I was driving my realtor crazy. My real estate, the folks that were showing me homes, I was driving them crazy. Everyone's hair didn't start out looking like yours, but at the end of the transaction, they didn't have any left,
Oh,
any at all,
wow.
right? So I knew being a realtor wasn't easy. And then, as I was purchasing properties, I met a home inspector,
Okay.
and I was intrigued. And I said, "Do you do this full time?" He said, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You do this every day?" He was like, "Yeah, actually, I do." So it was just amazing at the time. So that was my first introduction to the home inspection industry, and it really being a viable career, right? So fast forward, I began reaching out to many different home inspectors, and what's still true now, that was back in 2010 to 2011. And what remains true to this point is that most home inspectors are mom and pop shops. They aren't growth oriented, right? So I got a lot of pushback of guys essentially saying, "Hey, I'm not looking to train anyone. I'm not looking to grow." So it was a long time before I was able to locate someone that I could start working to train with. But once the introduction was there to the industry, I could tell you it was love at first sight. It really was. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, if there are people out there who are looking to actually come into the business, you have somebody out there who just like you right now, they're looking to get into the home inspection business. I know it's something where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but where if you work for somebody and you want to go start your own business, then you gotta like go out not the country, but out the state, or you can't open up a practice for like 2 years or something
It
like this.
depends. It depends. So here that is a really, really, really good topic because we have so many people that are now reaching out. Somehow the secret is now out that I can tell you being a home inspector is a great career. So what I tell people looking to come into the industry is, hey, there's many different ways to get started, right?
Mhm.
You can purchase a franchise if you like. You could launch your own company if you like, or you can come in and work under someone, right? So depending on where you want to end in your career, be very mindful with who you align with initially, right? Because I could tell you some companies we're growth oriented. We're hiring team members, right? We're hiring people that say, "Hey, we understand the value of working with the team. We want to work within that, and we just want to have an amazing journey just being a home inspector," right? So, folks that work with us, they don't have to worry about marketing. They don't have to worry about risk management, insurance, vehicles, all of those things, right? But our guys are going to sign a non-compete, non-solicit, right? Because we're doing all the marketing for them. We are essentially putting them in a plug and play, right? So for someone that comes to us and they say, "Hey, Corwin, guess what? I'm looking for an opportunity where I can work for someone for 8 months, and then I want to go out to do my own thing." I want to say that is absolutely great. We 100% support that, and here is someone that we can connect you to allow you to achieve that, right? Because we don't want to waste their time, and guess what, we don't want to waste ours either, right?
Right.
Franchises are out there to support that, right? Because I
Okay.
think one of the challenges is you come out of the home inspection school and you can become really, really good at understanding what aluminum wiring is, understanding what EPDM roofing is, understanding ladder setup, all this type of things. But guess what? The black box is, how do you generate revenue? How do you start a home inspection company? How do you protect yourself? So franchises are really good with that. Where they'll say, "Hey, you can come and work for us. as a franchisee, and we'll get all these different things set up for you, right? Or you have the guy that they want. So in Pennsylvania, you have to complete what's called 100 fee paid inspections. What that means is you have to complete 100 inspections that are live with a client. You can't say, "Hey, I went out and I inspected my uncle's house last week, my sister's house the week before that, and Aunt
Mm-hmm.
JoJo, yeah, I inspected for her as well." No, you have to complete 100 fee paid inspections, right? So within Pennsylvania, once that's done, you can essentially get your certifications, and now you can market yourself as a home inspector. So for the guys that are just saying, "Hey, I just feel like I need to complete those 100 fee paid inspections, and then I'm capable of going live," guess what? There's training programs that go out and support that, right? What we are focused at doing is building an amazing team, guys that really buy in and understand they can come in and make a really strong salary within a team. They're going to go and knock out 2 inspections a day, make a strong salary, and they don't have to worry about the other stuff.
Now, is that after schooling? Because of course they don't come to you brand new. There's some type of schooling that needs to be done, right?
If guys come to us brand new, we are going to pay for their school. We're going to put them through a school. We got 2 guys right now that are going through the New Jersey licensing school, and we got 2 guys that are actually completing online training. That's going to get, and another guy is completing online training for the PA side. So, what we have been really successful at is attracting like-minded people that may not have a really strong technical acumen with the trades, but because of their personality and their strong people skills, guess what, Kelly? I know we'll get the trade stuff down, and they can go out and essentially complete the blueprint. So we've been successful in finding people brand new that for whatever reason they found the interest in home inspections. We're going to pay for the school, right? We're going to put them in a company vehicle. We're going to do all those things to essentially allow them to go out and be successful.
Okay, got it. I
Yep.
didn't know that. I thought there was some type of schooling that had to be done, but you're saying that they can come to you fresh off the street, you'll pay for their online schooling and then kind of mentor them into after they, and just so I heard this right, after they get the schooling done, then that's where the 100 hours of paid inspections comes in, correct?
That's a good question. So we do that in concert with the school.
Okay.
So when guys are, so I'll give you an example. The classes that we have right now that are going through the New Jersey schooling, those classes they go Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, and then Saturday mornings, right? So Monday through Friday, we in our company we call them inspector trainees, right? That inspector trainee is completing inspections during the day. They're on payroll for that. We don't have guys come in and say, "Hey, we're not going to pay you to train. You're going to spend all this time." We pay guys to train, so they'll complete inspections Monday through Friday during the day. In the evenings, they're going to be taking those courses, and then Saturday afternoons they also have courses to take. So, I know I'm biased, right? But I think it's a great opportunity. You get paid training, right? You get
Right.
someone that's going to pay for the school, right? And then once those 100 fee paid inspections, right? Once you complete 100 inspections, then we are looking at to kick you out of the nest to go live. So, one of the things that I think has plagued the home inspection industry for many, many years is that a lot of times guys complete their training with very little oversight, right? What I mean by that is you'll have a typically someone that is already established as an inspector. They may tell a new guy, "Hey, if you pay me $50 a slot, I'm going to get you through," or some of them charge 100 a slot. "I'm going to get you through those 100 inspections," right? So now that just becomes another business revenue for that inspector. All he cares is that the guy shows up and pays him. He doesn't really care if the guy understands issues with push-o-matic breakers or issues with Federal Pacific electric panels are
Well,
issues
hold
with
on.
aluminum.
Let, let me stop you. Are you saying that the guy showing up, meaning that the seasoned guy, he schedules an inspection and then the young guy comes with him?
Yeah, because that's how that guy is going to get. Is going to. They call it mentoring inspection. So
Okay.
the new inspector, that's how he's going to get certified to go out and do the inspections. He has to complete 100 inspections, right?
Okay.
So you have this veteran guy that says, "Hey, here's what we'll do. You pay me." They charge typically $50 to $100 per
Okay.
slot. So they'll
Okay.
say, "Hey, you pay me, and I'm going to bring you. I'm going to let you tag along for 100 inspections, right?" Now that mentoring inspector, he doesn't really care what the guy learns. It's now another business revenue, right?
Gotcha.
So that new inspector comes on. Every inspection, he's given that the new inspector. He's given a veteran inspector $50 to $100. That veteran inspector doesn't really care what the guy learns. It doesn't matter. It's not another business revenue. That guy is now ready to go out and start marketing to the consumer, right? Hey, I'm an inspector and I'm ready to roll. The consumer is unable to differentiate that inspector versus a
Correct.
professional guy. And that's where the whole price thing comes in at, right? So what then happens is, one of the calls that we get all the time into the office is, hey, how much you guys charge for home inspection?
Right.
Right? We're going to give them our price, and they're going to continue to call people. At some point, they're going to get a really low number, but it's going to be from that brand new inspector or someone that's not providing a premium inspection service. For the consumers, it's just really hard for them to differentiate one inspection company from the other. So it becomes a commodity. How much do I have to pay for a 5 pound bag of sugar?
Right.
Right. It's kind of the thought there. Yeah.
Now when people do that, I guess there's different certifications that you can get in the home inspector industry, correct?
Yes, there are. There's many different levels. Here's what I'll tell you. Some of the preferred look for something called ASHIs, the American Society of Home Inspectors, where a lot of people will call and they'll say, "Hey, how much do you charge?" What they should be asking is, "Hey, who are you certified through?" Because some of the training that they could have gotten could be just all online training. Now, one of the things of ASHI, it is you have to complete certain hours of training to keep it up. It's one of the most expensive associations, right? So when you have a new inspector coming on board, typically they're not looking to write the check for an established not-for-profit building association like ASHI or the American Society of Home Inspectors. So that's one key that I tell at all of our home buyer seminars. Don't ask what do you charge. Ask who are you certified through, right? And ASHI is a dead giveaway that you got someone that's committed to education and committed to providing home inspections at a premium level, right?
Right. So the guy that comes in, a new guy comes in,
Yep.
he grabs an old head where the
Mm-hmm.
guy says, "Okay, give me $50 and I'll get you through your 100 inspections, paid inspections." Once he does that, is this for a license?
Khalid, you asking some very good questions, man. Hey, let me ask you a question, man. Do you got like the skinny camera thing going? I'm looking kind of slim in this video, man. You got the skinny camera thing going on? I mean, damn, I'm looking like I know your
No, man, that's
workouts
your
say
camera.
consistency, man, but damn, I only been working out for 3 days. I'm looking kind of slim up in the control, man. I'm usually thicker than a Snicker. You know what I'm saying?
Angles, man. It's all about the
It's all
angles.
about the angles. All right,
Right.
cool. So, hey, here is something that most consumers or even most real estate professionals like yourself may not know.
Right.
Pennsylvania is not a licensing state, right?
Wow.
Pennsylvania, I'm gonna say it again because most people don't know this. Pennsylvania is not a licensing state for home inspectors, right? There are certifications required, but the larger issue, right? And I'm gonna say this one quietly so other home inspectors don't start ringing my phone like, "Hey, don't tell everybody that, keep quiet, keep quiet."
You
One
letting the
one of the
goods
larger
out.
challenges with that is, hey, licensing or not, there's very little oversight, right?
Right.
There is very little oversight within a home inspection community in Pennsylvania. That is why we are sending more and more guys to New Jersey just to get the licensing, so we can be very vocal about our training and how we provide them at a premium service. So, um, but to legally complete the inspections in Pennsylvania through PIC, right? PHIC, you are required to complete 100 fee paid inspections. Every now and then, I'm not sure if I've gotten one from your office, but every now and then, we'll get a form from a brokerage, which essentially requires that we sign off saying that we have completed all the requirements to operate legally through PIC, because while the requirement is there, there isn't a lot of oversight. I'm thinking within the next 2 years, we will see Pennsylvania transition into a licensing state. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be happy about it, because I believe when the bar of entry is high, consumers across the board, they get better service. They get better service because what happens is, when you get a guy that goes out and provide a low level of service, it's not always, they don't always say that ABC home inspector was not good. They say home inspectors suck. They're not good. Maybe you shouldn't even hire them, right? Home inspectors suck. But when you get a industry that's just knocking it dead, they provide at a very high bar. The conversation becomes different, right? So that's my conversation with the inspectors that we hire. Listen, you're required to be an exceptional home inspector. We're not requiring you to market. We're not requiring you to handle risk management. We're not. You don't even have to buy your own truck. We're going to give you a truck, ladder. It's going to be wrapped or lettered. You'll be in a uniform. We're providing all those things, but you need to become an exceptional home inspector, and here's how you're going to do it. So,
Right. Yeah, and you can definitely see that through the folks I've had the pleasure of working with.
yeah.
Let me ask you, so if you're an inspector in Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
can you jump to a New Jersey? Like say that I
No,
did my 100
no.
test runs here. Can I go to Florida?
Florida is also a licensing state.
Okay.
You happen to pick up name just one of the few other states I'm aware of.
Okay.
Um, I'll tell you, when I went and got I am a New Jersey licensed home inspector, and I'm happy to say that, because let me tell you, that test was a real nail biter. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? If I had to get a 600, I might have had a 603. I don't
Okay.
test well, but what do you call the person that passed the medical exam with a 70? You call them doctor, right?
Doctor, right.
So what's interesting is, at the time I went through that class, I had already completed 4,000 home inspections, right? I had
Mhm.
already been in the home inspection industry for something like 7 years. That side of the bridge couldn't care less. They didn't care about I was actually already a HUD consultant, a 203K HUD consultant, right? Which very, very, very few home inspectors are, right? Not to toot my own horn, but somebody got to do it. Every time I ask somebody to do it, they act like they got alligator arms. They up here with it. So somebody
Right.
got to do it. So I just mean that to say, New Jersey, they don't care about your credentials. They don't care how long you've been doing inspections. And again, I really love that about them. I can't tell you how many times I sat down with home inspectors on this side of the bridge who said, I'll never do an inspection in New Jersey. I have
Wow.
no interest of going through that school. And I said, well, that's awesome. I'm signing up next week. We gonna get it.
Right. Right.
Philly, Jersey, Delaware. We gonna get it. We got one shot at this.
Right.
So
Wow,
no,
man, that's phenomenal. I didn't know it was that deep as far as home inspections, because if Pennsylvania you don't have to have a license, like you said, you can just be out there. Now, these franchises, do they make you do? Is their bars, because there's a lot of them out there? These franchises, is their bar a little higher?
here's what I'll tell you with franchises, and I'll say this. Obviously, we're not a franchise. Franchises are competitors, but I will, Khalid, I will give you nothing but the truth. Franchise companies are really, really good with staying in compliance. If a state, now remember, many of them are operating in multiple states, right? If a state has a specific requirement, franchises are really, really good with making sure that they meet that level of compliance within the state before a guy goes live, right? And I know it becomes a challenge to do, but that's one of my biggest jobs is essentially protecting the company from risk,
Right.
right? I also have that responsibility for our referral partners, right? Which is, so if we're out on an inspection, what I always encourage our referral partners to do is let us take the conversation with the client, because if we say, hey, guess what, the water heater is 22 years old, it only has a limited service life remaining, here's the cost to replace it. Sometimes we get the referral partners that are, they know a lot about just building components. Some of them know about building science, right? They know a lot about the trades. So a lot of times we'll get a referral partner that'll say, well, you know what, it's working fine now. Don't worry about it. You probably won't have to replace it for another 5 years. So what happens is if it fails, that client is then trying to wrap that agent or that real estate professional into the issue. Let us own it, right? If we say, hey, it has 4 years service life remaining, then it fails next week, let us pick up that conversation. So, my one of my biggest roles is protecting the company from any liability, any risk. We like to do the same for all of our referral partners. Hey, if we come out to do an inspection and then there's an issue, that first call should be to us. Let us figure out if it was a performance issue, or maybe it was something that was written in a report that for whatever reason the client didn't read.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Question: do you think you're a entrepreneur first and then a home inspector, or a home inspector first and an entrepreneur second?
You know what? I like to think that I'm an entrepreneur first, but every time I really get the ball rolling with launching another company for one reason or another, I find myself spending more time with the home inspection side. Meaning we have a few other entities that I'm involved with, but I just this is my baby though. Man, that you were supposed to text me before you asked me that. Yesterday, you were supposed to say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna ask you a really tough question. This is what it's going to be." So
Got you. That's it. Well, and the reason I'm asking that is because you do post a lot as far as when you're going on these business trips,
got it.
and when you're going on these entrepreneurial trips. So I wanted to know as far as how that played into it, because I have other home inspectors, but they seem to be knee deep in home inspection versus growing the company and learning about different techniques. How much of a role do you think that played in the success of your company?
Here's what I'll tell you. That you asked some really good questions, man. One of the things that people don't know is I have an element, and sometimes I can be bedridden for weeks, right?
Mm,
So what happened very early in my career, for the most part, I got it under control now. But what happened very early in my career is that I got some traction. I was meeting a lot of really, really great referral partners, and I was the first person that they would offer, hey, you need a home inspection, give Corwin a call. Well, it really wasn't even Core Inspection Group yet. But what happened was when I would get sick, um, it would essentially devastate. It wasn't a company, it was a Corwin thing, right? We can't reply to reports, we definitely can't do inspections. And then every time I would go down, it would take me a long time just to earn their trust again, right?
mm.
And then I started meeting a few people who said, hey, the only way to really grow this thing, he said, forget being sick. Don't you want to take a vacation sometime? Don't you want to be able to just go to your son's basketball practice, maybe coach a football team one day? It's
Right.
impossible to do that unless you start putting systems in place. Forget being sick, even if you're perfectly healthy. If
Mhm.
you're working 6, 7 days a week and now you're the only person getting it done, So here's I think where I was confused and where most entrepreneurs are confused when we first get started, with something that we're passionate about. We think we want the money, right? We think the goal is just to rake it in. Maybe you'll need a leaf blower or so much on the ground you can't,
Right.
back in the day we used to call it weigh money. You can't count it, it's too much. You got to weigh the money and keep it moving. Khaled, you from that area, you know what I'm talking about, right? The weigh money.
Facts.
So
Facts.
so then what would happen was as you begin to grow, the money becomes less important. And what becomes more important, Khaled?
Time.
The time. The time becomes more important, right? So one of the beauties about this era that we're living in, anything you and I are trying to do, you can find someone that is doing that exact same thing or very similar and connect with that person, right? So that's what the mastermind groups became to me. Hey, you're in Denver. All right, cool. I'm in Philly. You're growing a home inspection company. I'll fly out. I'll show you some things that I'm doing in Philly, and if you can show me some things that you're doing in Denver, it'll be great. We'll both grow faster, right?
Right.
I had a guy. He was in this guy was in Florida actually. Hey man, I'm watching you online, man. I see you're doing some really great things, man. I'd like to come down there and chat with you. He said, "Oh, well, actually, I got a wedding next week." I said, "Perfect," because I wasn't talking about next week, but the following week I'll be down, right? And I make sure I get in that room, I pull up a chair with them, and for me, just understanding, that I'm not by far, I'm not the smartest person in the industry, but I am someone that can watch a system, understand it, and then implement it, right? And just by doing that, I think I get a lot more done than a lot of people, right? Because I understand systems, I understand what works in this market, and I don't mind failing. I don't mind failing. Yeah, as long as you fail fast.
Right. Right. Fail fast.
Yeah.
They usually say the most successful person in the room is the one who's failed the most.
Boom, boom. There
And
you
that's
go.
what I think a lot of people are missing. A lot of people are scared to jump out there or scared to fail.
Absolutely,
So they keep
absolutely.
themselves on the sideline.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, they're looking at that roof, but they're not trying to climb that ladder and get on to that roof. I know
absolutely.
a lot of people think about that even when I'm not during inspections, but when I'm doing my own rehab projects and I got to get on the roof. It's like, man, I'll get on there, but if I don't got to do that, I'm not doing it. How
If
did you
you,
get
yeah,
over that?
um, I think for me, it was just a matter of under it gets back to the why thing. Like, what's more important? Why are you getting on the roof? Do you want a career in home inspections? You know, it's an investment property. I trust the roofer. He's handled 3 other properties for me before. I'm the owner. Maybe I don't need to get on the roof.
Right.
Maybe I don't need to get on there, right? But we are looking to provide premium inspection services, throughout the tri-state area. Yeah, it's important to me. I want to get on the roof. It's very important.
Super important, man.
Yeah,
Um,
so, yeah.
question for you: when doesn't a homeowner need a home inspection?
When don't they need a home inspection? We have people who have been at that house for 5 years and they're in the trades, and they've made the repairs, so they really do it from a legal perspective. Where I'll give you an example. A lot of the pre-listing inspections that we do,
Okay.
that homeowner is a contractor or an electrician, and the help me out is the seller's disclosure. They don't want to get caught in any issues within a seller's disclosure from what they
Okay.
know and what they don't know. So they'll hire our firm to come in as a third party,
Okay.
right? So that now again it comes back to managing the risk and taking on the liability, right? Um, so that's a lot of times where we'll see guys as even within the trades, they'll have a home inspection done. Khalid, that's another one. You should have texted me that one. You
What's
should have
that?
sent me a text yesterday, like, "Hey, I got one more question that's gonna make you sweat, brother. Here it is." You should
When a
have texted
person
me that
doesn't
one
need one?
yesterday. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's like
Not
asking a barber, when you don't need a haircut. I'm a barber, man. Come
right.
sit in this chair. Let's talk about it.
Right, because I'm thinking like, okay, a home inspector is probably going to say that you always need a home inspection.
Hmm.
Here's here's what I think. Um, if a home inspector goes out and they inspect the property, they're giving a disclaimer within the report that, hey, I can only talk about what's exposed. I can't talk about what's in the walls.
Visible, non-intrusive.
There we go.
Boom, I
What
got you
type
now.
what type of liability do you see? I guess that's my question, because if you're already making a disclaimer that I can only inspect what's apparent.
I can give you an inspection we turned down today last week, and and I think the person that has it because they've been very vocal about. Listen, I'm applauding the guy. Really, really big transaction. The guy's buying a 16 unit property, investment property in Delaware County. You've seen it online, but when we looked at the property, it's all it's essentially all open for. There's no wallboard in there. It's all open frame, right? There's no functional mechanics in there. I think that one would assume it's been in that state for over 10 years that the roof needs to be replaced. In that scenario, I looked at it and I'm talking to Peter about it. I'm thinking we can't provide this guy with much value unless they just want like a termite inspection. Let's just tell him that is we're not going to provide much value with the home inspection. We chose to forego it. So that was a scenario where, and I'll give you another one. Sometimes we walk into homes and I really feel like they need a contractor more than they need a home inspector, right? Like this home, and it's a lot of the off market deals. But what we'll have is new investors. They've never purchased a property before. They're super nervous. They don't know the contractor. Um, and my goal is to try to give them enough information to say yes or no over the next one without calling us out. What are we going to say about the mechanics? The mechanicals where the electric is off, the electric panel is rusted out, right? The heating system, we know it's 40 years old. You're going to remove it, right? What are we really going to say about the property? If it is that investor that just needs some hand holding, sure, we're going to come out. We'll have that conversation. But Khaled, you've seen those reports before. There's no need for us to BS each other. Everything's going to say defective.
Right.
Heating system is inoperable. Cost estimate for replacing by HVAC professionals advised.
Right.
Right. So that is a scenario. It took me a minute. You had to pull that one out of me. You had to listen, man. I got 7 guys that get busy. Everybody need an inspection, right? So you had
Right, 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 right. And you know
so,
what? That makes sense, because when you are an investor and you're going through properties, I can see them just calling you guys, because a lot of first time investors
yeah.
get inspections and appraisals mixed up. So they
Mm-hmm.
go straight, okay, well, I need a inspection. But like you said, if the mechanicals aren't working, and this is a beat up or a gutted row house, then what am I really inspecting?
It's a house that you're going to do a complete renovation. Sometimes we'll get a call and I'm with it. Sometimes they may call us just for a sewer scope inspection. They
Okay.
want to know if they need to replace that lateral. They may call us just for a termite inspection. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the lender may require it, right? So they may call us for like a termite inspection. But as far as a full, um, I'll tell you our company protocol. I'll leave it up to the inspectors. Hey, if you go out there, I had a guy. He went out to the property and it was just in such a state of disrepair that the steps leading up to the second level was partially removed. He
Mm.
didn't even feel comfortable going up the steps. So I leave it up to our inspectors. hey, if you're out there, and for some reason you don't feel comfortable, call the office, we'll figure it out. He's doing like a live video there. I had a conversation with the client, and the client, she was just dead set that she wanted an inspection. So that was a scenario where we got a guy on our team that's been at it for 10 years, and another guy that's been at it for 15 years. I said, well, let us reshuffle the deck. I will have someone else out there within a day, but this inspector doesn't feel comfortable doing it. It's a safety issue, but we will get it done for you, right? I was at a property where, like, in the basement, it was like, Khalid, it was like 2 inches of sewage in the basement,
Oh
right?
wow.
And the property was just in a complete state of disrepair. Um, and we had a conversation about it. The thought is, listen, this is what you're going to see in the report. Everything that you see now, where you know that lateral likely needs to be either cleared or replaced, right? We know we need to totally renovate that. That's essentially what you're going to see in the report. By all means, I would like to get paid, right? I'll be more than happy to take your check, but I'm not sure if that's providing value to you, right? So we can forego the inspection. I'll be more than happy to. Um, but you guys let me know. They called their real estate professional. They had the conversation. What I like to do in that scenario was is try to get the whoever referred us there, because a lot of times I know that our referral partners and real estate professionals, they can't always make the inspection. We don't want it to be any confusion in what the inspector said versus what the client is referring to them. So I try to get them on the other line and say, hey, here's what we see. Here's what we're going on. We're looking at pulling the plug. Sometimes what I get is that for them to move the ball forward, they will prefer that they have get the inspection done. And it's just a conversation that takes place. So, but sure, those are some scenarios where we may not complete the inspection.
Okay. And and wrapping this up, hear some type of echo there. Um, what advice do you have for business owners just in general? You've been running this successful business for several years now. So I guess looking at a higher scope than just home inspections, what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs out there?
I got one that's easy for me, and it may not be easy for other people. Hire people that's smarter than you.
Mm.
Hire people that's smarter than you. Give them very clear direction, and give them the opportunity to make mistakes.
Boom.
And for me, it just happens to be an easy thing, right?
Right. That's man. That's what happens when you push the ego out the way.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. So we're about taking care of the client, and just raising a bar, man. So, I look at marginal gains, right? Where one of the things that we have to buy into, and I know you have some level of fitness or just staying in shape, and you have that piece about you. So I think you know that there isn't one specific thing that you're going to do to stay in shape, right?
Mm.
A
Right.
piece of it may be a diet, a piece of it maybe cardio, a piece of it may be, hey, here's how I'm going to work out my chest this week, and maybe shock treatment. It takes all of those collectively, right, to keep your body in shape. I say that as I'm overweight, right? But I know. So it's the same thing with running a business. It's marginal gains. I can talk about a lot of the small things that we've done, right?
Mm.
From adding infrared camera technology, adding drones if we can't get onto the roof, our camera poles if we can't get onto the roof. We now have a sewer scope division. We're now offering free home warranties, right? None of those things, if you look at them singularly, none of those things alone is going to make a top tier inspection company. But if we start putting in all these marginal gains, a game of inches. I know you're a football guy, right? A
Right.
game of inches. We start moving that ball, we want to get a first down. So all of these things collectively, once we put them together, then sure, it'll be hard to argue that Core Inspection Group isn't a premium home inspection company, right? We have over 1,000 5-star reviews, right? So one of the things, and we're one of the few few companies, Philadelphia, actually maybe the only Philadelphia-based company to have that. There is a company that operates in Philadelphia, but they're actually based out in somewhere in Delaware County. It puts us in the top 10% of home inspection companies in the country. Really, right? With a thousand reviews, you know what it's like getting those reviews. Is back to alligator arms. Like now they can't type all this stuff, right? Right?
Right. You get in the missing phone calls and
Yeah, yeah.
not being able to contact people.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, so with that, I always say, hey, don't listen to what Corwin or Core Inspection Group has to say. There are many vehicles online you can look at, and they'll tell you how we operate, right? And the reason that's very important to our referral partners with our 1,000 reviews, that means that guess what? Your clients are more than likely to have an exceptional home inspection experience with us than any other inspection company.
Right. Success leaves clues, man. Success
There
leaves
you
clues.
go.
Well,
There you
listen, I
go.
want to thank you for coming on. You
Wait,
definitely
wait,
have
wait. I
my
got one more. I got
go
one
ahead.
more. I got one
Go ahead.
more.
Go
Hey,
ahead.
man, one of the other things that you don't know about is we also provide free closing gifts for all of our referral
Free
partners, right?
closing.
Yeah, free closing gifts. So, anytime you have it, you guys have an inspection with us, we can provide coasters. We can provide, hey, man, don't act like you didn't see this sitting back there the
I
whole
did
time.
see that. I did.
Yeah.
I
Don't
was
act,
right.
we'll also provide cutting boards. So I know we did one with you recently. So we have we'll make sure we get these dropped off to your office, or
Okay.
if you prefer and you're within within striking distance, you can always come up to our office. But either way, we'll make sure you're getting this. So we provide free closing gifts to all of our referral partners. Yeah,
Appreciate you, man. Listen, if anybody
absolutely.
looking for a home inspector, definitely reach out to Corin. And I'm gonna give one technique on one thing that I did because it's a very competitive market out there. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're trying to get an inspection, but maybe the next person is waiving their inspection. One thing that I do is that if I know it's going to be a competitive bid and we go and see the property on a Friday, I may try to go on Saturday with an inspector and just do a walkthrough. So we do a walkthrough so you have some type of protection and just not waiving the inspection just um, half-heartedly or hazardly. That's the word I was looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
So that's one of the things that I do. So if y'all out there and y'all are in a bidding war or you think it's going to be a bidding war, don't just forego the inspection completely. What you do is you call Corwin and just get a walkthrough the next day. The walkthrough won't take an hour or so, and that way you can get a grasp of what's going on. What do you think about that?
Hey, so one of the things that we do is we look at the walk and talk as an ancillary, right? Where our walk and talks are priced very, very low. They're priced at 125, but we price them in concert with the home inspection. So what that means is they can complete the full home inspection after they go to settlement, right? Or once they
Mm,
actually get it under contract. Now, if we
okay.
complete that walk and talk and then they lose or for whatever reason they don't go forward with the purchase, the fee for that full inspection, it just rolls over to the next one. So we look at the walk and talk as an ancillary service to the home inspection. And one of the reasons why we do that is because looking at the walk and talk, we did not believe that we were providing maximum value to the clients,
Okay.
right? So I'm just a value, kind of guy, and I just want to make sure that we are protecting their interests. Now, and I'll tell you, it's not up to Corwin, right? It's not up to Core Inspection Group. It's up to the market, right? If there was a time where I just flat out no, we're not doing walk and talks, it's going to take up a full inspection slot. I don't feel like we're providing a lot to the clients. Is not the direction we want to go to. But the market said this is something that's needed,
Right.
right? This is something that's needed. It's low inventory. We don't have time to wait for a home inspection. We're looking to make a decision right away,
Right.
right? So I had to sit down again. We talk about smart people. I had to sit down with people smarter than me to make this decision. We're talking about the Pat Hannigans of the world, the Robert Battles of the world, and those folks that really had their finger on the pulse. The wars aren't won in the general's room, right? The wars are won with the soldiers that's out in the trenches on the battlefield. As you know, I'm not in the inspections every day. I sit here in my imaginary world and try to figure out what should happen. Where where I got guys that's in the trenches every day, and they're saying, "Hey, this is
We
what needs
need
to
this.
happen."
Right.
So then I have to figure out logistically, how to make it happen to accomplish the goal. So, hey, I told you I'm long-winded, man. I tried to warn you before we
Right,
got
right,
started.
right, right. But listen, man, we're gonna have you on again, man. We gotta wrap this joint up now. But all of Corwin's information will be in a description wherever you're getting this at, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, man. So this is Colin Nathan Alim. Catch us here every Friday at 12 o'clock, where we look deeper into the lives of Black real estate professionals in the tri-state area, y'all. We out. Take care.
Signing out. I appreciate you.